Well, good morning, everybody. What you're looking at right here is the Big Sandy River, divides West Virginia and Kentucky, and that is essentially my staging yard. I've got a removable bridge. Thought since the majority of my subscribers may not even know I have a garden railroad, I'm going to do some operations, and I'm going to do a brief tour of the garden railroad so you understand what's going on. This is the fictional town of Hagins. All these places are named after relatives. Hagins was my great grandmother's maiden name, or actually my great grandfather's name on my father's side. And so this little town of Eastern Kentucky in my mind, and this is the Hagins yard. So the operations go a switcher from Williamson, West Virginia, comes down at nighttime, picks up cars in the Hagins yard, drops off empties so the local crew can switch it. In my mind, this used to be a lot longer operation, but the big coal mine at the end of the branch closed, and so now there's just a little stub left serving a few industries. So when the train leaves the yard, I do have a loop. When the train leaves the yard, I have to open this switch up so I can run the loop. So we're going to do a tour of the layout. So we come through the tunnel here. This is the Schilder Tunnel, which is my mother-in-law's maiden name. This is Bartram pulpwood. Used to have a big stack of pulpwood there, but the birds stole it all. So I just planted some trees there, but we have a gondola loaded with pulpwood that we have to pick up. Coming on the ground here, we used to have a trestle here, and it fell apart. It was a plastic trestle, fell apart. So I put a wood trestle there, it fell apart. And so this is actually an idea I stole from a guy. This is actually edging from Lowe's. It's like garden edging and with a piece of plywood. So now it's like a duck girder bridge. It serves a purpose. Just got a couple of bricks holding it up. Okay. This is Scott Cole, named after my grandfather. My mother's maiden name was Scott, and it is served by this little mining tram here. Basically, this is just for visual interest. I just run it as a loop. In theory, it would come up, unload one car at a time, go down the conveyor, load the coal cars here. Not very prototypical, but in G-scale you don't have a lot of space to do stuff. And actually that is the mine right there. But I don't really operate it, I just let it run around in a loop. All right, so coming on around the loop, we've got the pond right now. The pump hasn't kicked on yet. We've got goldfish in there now, but when the raccoons find them, they try to get them, which is why the screen is over it. Come on around to the loop. This is my passing siding here, and that is Truett Hardwoods. Truett was my great-grandmother's maiden name on my father's side, and they ship lumber. Looks like railroad ties there. I am working on popsicle sticks to replace all the lumber there, and wood chips. And we're back around to the yard. So that's a quick tour of the garden railroads. What we're going to do today is switch the yard to get ready to service the industries. All right, let's do some of the technical descriptions. This controller is air wire, and that's what runs the little mining tram. The decoder, so to speak, and the battery are in this little car here. None of my track is powered. I used to run track power, but then I had to clean it, and it was a real pain. Rail Pro is what I use for the larger engines. I have onboard batteries inside the locomotives, and that way I don't have to, like I said, worry about cleaning the track. The layout is about 10 feet wide right here, 8-foot diameter curves, and it's 34 feet long. And we've got this walkway all the way around it. The only place I really have to climb up in it anytime, well, other than maintenance, is sometimes to uncouple the cars right here. Track is a mixture of Aristocraft, USA Trains, and LGB. don't really worry about it too much. G-scale, I'm a lot less picky about stuff. So, this little bridge here, just had to re-level those because it's Garden Railroad stuff shifts all the time. So in the wintertime, freeze and thaw and everything, had to level those out. And the plants, this is, laid the first post 9 years ago. So we're gonna use the Alco switcher today. And they usually park it at night on the spur to the freight house. So we've got a boxcar that needs to be switched out at the freight house. So we're just gonna back up and pull that. I do all my uncoupling by hand, and typically I just lift the cars off the track, set them back down. Haven't found a good uncoupling tool for G-scale. These N&W boxcars, they just have company stores, more or less. The freight house isn't used much anymore for actually less than carload freight. So now it's more of a storehouse for the N&W. Filmed this pretty early in the morning. I guess right now it's about 10 o'clock, so between 9 and 10 o'clock. So I had some long shadows. I've had skin cancer many times, so I try to stay out of the sun. So when the railroad is in the full sun, usually don't run it. I run it in the mornings and in the evenings. Drop off the car there, and then we're going to put the empty car at the little stub track at the end of the passing siding here. When I first built this, the gravel, everything was level with the the wood around the outside. You can see how much it's settled. What I probably should do is get a couple tons of gravel and take the track up and throw more gravel down. But it runs fine. The stuff's pretty forgiving. Hey, Jesse. Unfortunately, the crew from Williamson did not put the cars in the right order for us, so we go ahead and sort them out in the yard rather than doing it while we're out on the branch. Now that I'm retired and I have more time, maybe a little bit more ambitious with the Garden Railroad, doing some things. Usually it's just been sort of in a holding pattern since I built it and I got into N-scale. So I'll leave the caboose there. The problem is the gondola is between the bulkhead flat car and the empty wood chip car. A ton of cardinals on the feeder at the moment. They sort of come in waves. In a little while we might have a bunch of blue jays. Oh, I need to put the hummingbird feeder out. I thought I did. Maybe my wife took it down to clean it. We've got one out, but the other one's not out. All right, so we're going to spot the Gondla in front of the caboose. You can see the switch stand there by the caboose. Those were made by Bachmann. And they have all held up very well, but the plastic throw bars on the switches have not held up very well. So really they don't function much anymore, but in G-scale the switches have so much friction in them. I just throw them by hand. I just move the points. Don't have any problem. So now let's go back and get the bulkhead flat. Then we'll put that on the train, and that's all we're going to do today. I run the coal train as a separate operation. So basically my theory, they switch industries, the lumber mill and the pulpwood and the freight house in the morning, come back to the yard, drop off the cars, eat lunch, then they go switch the coal mine. You see most of the railroad is in full sun now, so we're just going to spot the cars, finish building the train, and then we'll take a break. So that'll do it for today. Like I said, we'll run the switching tomorrow, and I'll do some run-bys at the different locations and things. So hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend. I'm going to post this Sunday morning. So, as always, stay safe.